Hey everybody, this is Jose. We are about to get started. Let's have a quick sound check as we always do. Please, a quick message on the chat box would be very appreciated because that would tell me that you hear my voice and therefore we are ready to get started. So please, let's have a quick sound check, a quick nice message, quick hello to the community, to the other fellow traders. How are you, Siderman? Good to see you. Very good. So we are 20 seconds away from we start. How are you, Christian? Maka, how are you? Very good to see you all, guys. I'm putting myself here in the bottom right corner as always. This is my spot, isn't it? Wayne, how are you, my friend? Good to see you. Very good, everybody. We are ready to get started. So we are live. Welcome to the session, everybody. Today is May-13, 2021. This is Options with Options. Options give us options. My plan is to give you as many options as possible depending on the market environment. We're going to be looking at what's going on today. Pretty major moves on the VIX today. You may have seen that already. We'll look at it. In any case, before we get started, a disclaimer on the upper left side of the corner. Please read it carefully. This is important information. It's being highlighted. I'm counting on you to read it fully. Do not skip any word, please. This is indeed important stuff. With this said, let's move into the next slide. Quick getting organized, the agenda for today. Well, the first thing is to say hello. We just did. Second thing is to remind you all, especially if you are new to the sessions, that we are simulcasting. Simulcasting means that the sessions run in parallel in public locations as well as in private in our website, to be specific, tradewithufos.com/live. And basically, this has a couple of implications. Number one, video lags are different depending on where you are watching the session from. So keep that in mind, especially if you need to interact with the chat box and so on. And by the way, you guys, please do not be shy, even in the public places such as YouTube. Don't be shy. Ask questions, guys. We're here to help. So make sure you use the time of the session, to get better at trading. Okay, so don't be shy and ask questions. The other implication about simulcasting is that in the private room in tradewithufos.com/live, the duration of the sessions is full duration, where in public places such as YouTube, Facebook, and so on, of course, being there has no cost associated, but the sessions also are limited in time. The quality of the content is the same. We do the same thing, when we go private. It's not like we have a secret sauce or anything like that. It's not the case. Trading is trading. So there is no secret sauce, but the duration is less, okay, in the public streams. So again, if you are a trader, I always use the term looking at trading as a part-time thing. Probably YouTube or Facebook is good enough for you because the sessions are limited in time, but if you are looking at it from a part-time point of view, probably it's good enough and it's free, so go for that. If you are looking at trading like it's more serious, it's more important to you, you are very passionate about it, you are like me, as I always say, you always need more or want more or love it. So then I recommend you to look at the coaching plans on our website, subscribe to the coaching plans, and therefore you will have access to the private room where the duration of the session is full duration, okay? Very good. So with this said, we're going to look at the market, review the trades, and then look for new market opportunities, which is kind of our everyday routine. So let's begin with looking at the market. Major relief today with the S&P going up 1.46%. When I say major relief, I'm referring to how the people out there, the public, the non-professionals, if you wish, would probably feel when they see the market going back up. To us as traders, to be honest, it doesn't matter if it goes up or down. We have tools to make money in all sorts of market conditions. So it's not really that relevant, but the public certainly, they breathe more easily when they see the market is going up, right? In any case, even though the market is going up 1.47% as we speak, the fact is that we are in a down climate, which is confirmed. This is 3 out of 3, so not a surprise, if the market gives another push to the downside. At the same time, it seems that we are reaching kind of like the end of this down climate. Because it's 3 out of 3. So, there is no green UFO on the chart though, so we may need to have another push, another day or two. Not sure, we'll see. until we reach those UFOs to have a complete turn in price and get another blue climate, another up climate to develop. So this is what we have at this moment in time, okay? The most relevant aspect of what I just explained, especially as options traders, is the impact in the VIX. And we can see that the VIX hit 28, almost 29 yesterday, but today it's been dropping like 15%, almost 16%, down to 23, which is more or less the same values that we had yesterday. Which is quite disappointing because, I was running the scans earlier in the day and I'm like, oh, we're going to have fun today with a 28 VIX. And next thing you know, at the speed of the light, as the day progressed, VIX came back to yesterday values. Doesn't mean we cannot trade, okay? We can always find trading opportunities, that's for sure. But at the same time, I was looking to enter non-directional opportunities yesterday. If you recall, I was looking to build iron condors, and of course VIX of 28 would make it easier in most of the cases, okay? In any case, quick review of what we had. We have TIM. This was a trade. By the way, Mark, I forgot to say that to you yesterday. You were asking about this. We had a new location for the target. It was 218.25. I forgot to mention this at the end of the session yesterday, but now you can see this is the new location for the target. And you can see as well that that stock has been challenging, going back above the entry point. And thank you, Mr. UFO, because you are bringing price back down. 220, so we are about $2 away from the target, so looking good to hit that profit. It's not going to be a major profit though, given the fact that we moved the target way closer to where it was originally. But again, that's what we have to do, because in the daily time frame, as we saw yesterday, we had a new UFO form. Wait a minute, I have a strategy in here. Why is that? Let me get rid of. Should not be having any strategy here. Here we go. Here we go. So we have it now. Wait a minute. Yesterday we had a UFO there, and we don't have it today. Does it mean that it was hit already? Was it on the 11? Yeah. So on the 11. So okay. So that means that target was hit yesterday. Then okay. So then this trade is over in this case. Okay. It seems that later in the session today or something, the target was hit. Okay, so let me take a look at this again. Yes. That's the time. Okay, when the target was hit. Okay, so I remember yesterday there was a moment in time where when I was charting, I don't know if you remember, but I was making a mistake with the last date and I was using a wrong last date. So I guess, I didn't realize yesterday that the target was hit yesterday. Okay, but actually right there, right at the open yesterday, we should be out of this trade. Okay, I didn't notice that. So I'm pointing at this now. And if you didn't, well, when you get there, it's moving towards the target. So when you get there, make sure you exit. Okay. Cool. Anyway, so the team trade is over. Yeah. So you are still in. So monitor it closely, Mark. I would say it's looking good for you to hit 218. At the same time, if you were to see any threat on the S&P or something like that, so I would suggest you close the trade. You should be in profit at this moment in time. It's not going to be a very big one, but you should be in profit, so you can go ahead and close it. It seems that there is some momentum to the downside and there is no green UFO, so you should hit that target. Okay, so monitor it closely so you know when to close it. Okay, cool. And yesterday, the last thing that we did, okay, was we looked at a potential trade with Zoom. That potentially could have been an iron condor yesterday, but unfortunately, when we looked at the premium levels, we were not getting what we wanted. Okay, so we placed an order. Okay, we placed an order yesterday. Let me go back to AutoStation Pro. We placed an order yesterday to get filled at 75 cents. We did not get filled as expected. At that time, the midpoint between the bid and the ask was more around 50 something cents. So asking 75, it's asking a lot, isn't it? So it was very unlikely to get filled. But again, you never know Maybe we actually even went close to getting filled, especially with that VIX, peaking all the way to almost 28. So probably we almost, wait a minute, we are looking at Zoom. Okay, here we go. So, maybe we went very close to getting filled, but we didn't. I placed the order on the TOS platform, and as you can see here, I don't have anything in it, okay? Meaning that I did not get filled, okay? So, how much is that trade paying today? 40 cents. So again, this trade is definitely not valid today. It was not valid yesterday. Today it's even worse. So we're gonna forget about it, remove it from the list, and begin planning for new trades right now, okay? Christian, you sold it for a profit, 180. Thank you very much for sharing, and also thank you very much for your good work and your commitment to practice and always there in the sessions, Christian, always asking questions and looking at this very seriously, okay? So I congratulate you for that, and thank you so much for sharing your activity and the results. That makes me very, very happy that not only you practice and you get better, on top of that, you make some money in the process. So it's very nice to see. Cool. So anyway, so let's begin. Okay. So what did I do today? Like yesterday, I ran a scan using top 50. I did check market because since the VIX went higher yesterday, and we talked about TradeStation updating values for implied volatility at the end of the day. So yesterday we had very few results, and today I was expecting more results, even by checking that parameter where we want implied volatility stochastics to be top 50. To my surprise, we only got 6 results. Okay, so I'm gonna, I will uncheck it. Okay, and later I will rerun the scan one more time. Okay, and wait a minute. Yes, this is correct. So to my surprise, we only got 6 results, and what I just said to my surprise, to be honest, it's not that surprising when the market picks up speed, because what the scanner is doing is looking at markets that are ranging. And yesterday, not only volatility went higher, especially towards the end of the day, the market started stretching, and some indices, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they ended up with like negative -2%, something like that, -2.5%. So that's a decent move for an index. And therefore, what happens when the index stretches of that, an amount of that magnitude, then individual stocks even stretch more. So some stocks that maybe at the beginning of the day were showing conditions of a ranging market, at the end of the day they were showing conditions of a trend to begin developing, and therefore that's why the list is short. In any case, with higher levels of volatility, I'll be happy later to re-explore and re-scan, hopefully finding new opportunities. So we'll start with DE, okay, and see what we have. How are you, Joanne? It's very good to see you. I just ran it and you got 12 for non-directional. Very good. So I'll rerun it as well. Okay. Thanks for that. Thanks for sharing. With D, we got 54%. That's nice to see. But again, before we get too excited about anything, let's check earnings. So DE has earnings on, too soon. That's May 21st. Okay. Meaning that, if we were to do this trade, the only way to do it is to use tomorrow expiration. Because 21st is next Friday, so the only way to do it is to use tomorrow expiration. Now this is a $300 over dollar stock, almost 400, so we should be able to find premium. Okay. Unfortunately, that second UFO is very far away, so let me check if we got more UFOs in the pre and post market, and they meet our 48%. They don't. We have more UFOs, but they don't. Okay, so in that sense, we cannot really rely on them. And the only way to do an iron condor here, a 1 day iron condor, 1 day and a half iron condor, would be to look at selling the 340 puts, which probably will not pay enough. But I'm going to check very quick, just in case, because it's rare. But if it was to pay enough, those trades are extremely powerful from a speed of time decay point of view, even though, again, it's going to be shocking to me if the 340 pays 35. It doesn't. It pays 11. Okay. So it's not good enough, and therefore we're gonna keep going for the next symbol, which is gonna be VRTX. Okay, we're gonna skip Biogen because of pretty major slippage. So Vertex Pharmaceuticals, VRTX. Let's take a look at this guy. So earnings just took place, okay, and therefore next earnings are gonna take a while. Probability is looking good, but wait a minute, we don't have red UFOs above. Why is that? The top for that stock started, more or less in June last year. Okay, so let me go ahead and load data starting June last year, so we can evaluate the UFOs above, how far they are. Probabilities are good, 53%. So do we have more? Yes. So we indeed have more than 2 above. But what about below? Okay, it seems that maybe for below I may also have to load more data. Sorry guys, I went a bit too fast there with the hotkeys. Okay. So let me load data then all the way to somewhere here. Let's call it November 18. Okay, so we're gonna load data starting November 18, and this should reveal UFOs above and below. Okay, so November 2018. Now I'm not fully sure about the liquidity of that stock, so while the data is being loaded, I'm gonna go ahead and take a look at the option chain for VRTX and see what's available. Slow internet, Joanne, got you. Okay, so let's take a look at, for example, next week and see what we have. Wow, 11 and 17, 4 and 5. That's not looking too good. And that is with the fact that the 21st of May is monthly. Okay, so let me tell you what, we're just gonna forget about Vertex. I thought I saw at some point better liquidity, but I'm really not happy of what I'm seeing here. So we're just gonna continue with 3M, which has multiple UFOs, has 52.75%. In the monthly time frame, we are far from making all times high. So let me load data all the way, March 18. Let me check earnings too. So earnings just took place. So the next time they will happen is going to be, much later in time. There is not a date yet, but I'm not too concerned because last time it happened in April. So April plus 3, that's going to be around July. Okay, so we have plenty of time. And again, let me go back to the 55-minute time frame and load data starting March 18, so we can have a proper analysis of that stock with more UFOs above, because the UFOs below are a bit far down compared to where the UFOs above are. So I need to find more red UFOs to have a well-balanced trade. In the meantime, I will load MMM on Option Station Pro, so I can begin planning the trade. So here's MMM. So if I was to look at 21st of May, I'm not sure this is gonna pay enough, okay, because I believe the UFOs may be a bit too far. But anyway, it's all good. Wow, the following UFOs are so far away. This is not good. In any case, let's follow the process. Okay, so we're gonna right click and analyze and sell an Iron Condor. I just selected random strikes because the intention, as you have seen before, is to identify the plus and the minus 1 standard deviation, which is 209 and 196. And when I look at 209, yeah, so 209 is above this. Okay, so 209 is above this, and therefore those two UFOs cannot be used. Do we have anything on the pre and post market that could be helpful above 209 with 48% or more? So we have 223, but it's not 48%, it's 46%. Therefore, we're gonna ignore it. We need to be using regular data for that stock. So the only way I can do this trade is selling options, which is 232. So instead of working on my chart back and forth, what I'm gonna do is save time by just looking at the 232, okay, and find an expiration date that provides at least 35 cents, which obviously is not gonna be May 21st, and probably I need to go all the way to 18th of June. Let's take a look at that. 232, 230 is 30 cents, so not good. I may need to go even beyond that. Let's see, 25 of June, 232 and a half doesn't exist. 230 pays 42, but liquidity is not good. So yeah, we're gonna abort. Okay, what's the problem? The problem is that lonely UFO there is so far away from any other UFO. That's the problem. If we got a setup like this, where you have multiple UFOs and they're nearer to each other, then we may end up selling options around 215, 220, and it would be very easy to put this trade together. But with that far UFO, basically that makes our life too complicated. Let's take a look at Verizon. You have heard me say before that when trying to do iron condors with utility stocks, often it doesn't work too well. Premiums are often on the low side because there are stocks that are seen as kind of like a safe bet, pay good dividends and things like that, and normally those stocks don't move too much. But in a few prior of my trades, I've seen more premium that I normally see, so therefore I'm gonna start looking at Verizon and see what we get there. So Verizon reported earnings in April, and the next time is going to be July. So in this sense, we can be very flexible with the expiration dates for Verizon. And I'm going to load it here on the option chain. And in this initial stage of planning the trades, I'm just flying, switching screen. So if you are new to trading, probably I'm driving you crazy a little bit here because I'm moving quite fast. But at the same time, if that's okay, let me do it, because the moment I get to what may be a valid trade, then I will stop there and explain everything with detail. Okay, so we don't spend too much time screening. So 51% is the probability we get when we use pre and post market. Okay, here are two UFOs, certainly valid because it's 48 or more. Okay, and this is pre and post market. I'm just marking where the UFOs are, because now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to regular session. Okay, and there will be other UFOs that may or may not coincide. So notice that there is another UFO here. Okay, notice that there is another UFO here. Okay, notice that there is another UFO there. So again, I got multiple choices when it comes to UFOs, and I just need to have at least two above and two below. But because probabilities are good both during pre-post market as well as regular session hours, I am drawing the lines this way so we know where all those UFOs are. It's like the mix of UFOs. So let's go ahead and pick the first expiration date and right click and analyze and sell an iron condor for Verizon. We're gonna have our plus standard deviation, our minus standard deviation, okay, and that is 60 and 57, so 60.5 and 57. So 60.5, it's kind of here. Okay, it's kind of here. Okay, 60.5, it's more or less here. Okay, something like that. And 57 is kind of here. Okay, so in other words, if we were to do this trade, we will need to utilize 61. That would be our call. So the key question is, how much do we get paid with the 51? And it's only 6 cents. So today, Verizon is kind of back to the normal levels of volatility. I saw more premium the other day, but today it's kind of like what I would expect from a utility stock, which is they pay very little, okay, because they are perceived as very safe instruments. Okay, so I'm just gonna move to COP. Okay, and as I click COP, I'm gonna rerun the scan. Okay, after unchecking the variable, the parameter I unchecked earlier. And it's funny because COP is a trade where we did a double calendar and we benefited from volatility going to rally. Take care, Siderman. And so we benefited from that, and now it's giving us a setup to benefit from volatility dropping. So we're going to try to kind of reverse it somehow and take advantage of that. Okay, so let's see if COP will be our ally again to do this trade. So earnings for COP are happening on May 4, so this already happened, and so now we are ready for the next expiration date. We don't have the date, but obviously it's going to be about 3 months from now. Okay, so all good for us to get into this. Let's go ahead and get COP on the option chain so we can begin planning this trade accordingly. Okay, loading. It is taking a long time. It is indeed taking a long time. Well, also we need multiple UFOs above and below. Let me check what's above price. Okay, so 21st of May, I'm just gonna pick any strike, right click, analyze and sell, and iron condor. I'm gonna delete everything we had from COP from before. Here's our iron condor, and one standard deviation points at 58 and 51. So we will put that on the chart. Okay, 58 and 51. So 51 is more or less here, and 58 is more or less here. Here we go, something like that. I guess I can be a bit more precise, isn't it? Okay, something like that. Okay, now above price we have data, from let's say April 19. Okay, so very good. So we should have more red UFOs above price. I need more UFOs. We got 47%. Okay, so we may have to use pre and post market data. Let's see. Wow, interesting. It seems that lots of institutional interest went away. That stock used to provide 48% or more, and not anymore. So I didn't look at this figure because we just concluded the trade, but funnily enough, it seems that it would not work for us. So I'm gonna give it one opportunity, which is to load data from April 19, even though it seems that in recent times there's been a little bit of a drop of institutional interest because it used to be 48% or more, and now it was 47 something. But again, we're gonna load more data, and if overall with more data loaded I am back to be above 48, then I'll say it's good enough. Okay, so let's be patient for a second until this is loaded. Take care, Wayne. See you soon. Here we go. So we have it, and we can now see those UFOs above. We got 51%. Also, if we look at pre and post market, 51% becomes 43, so that's not good. So we'll stick with regular session, and with that in mind, we're gonna shoot at we're gonna use that UFO. We're gonna with two UFOs, right? So 1 and 2, and now what I'm gonna do is start from the current price and draw a vertical line to represent the range from current price to the upper UFO, so I can do the same below. Here we go, and this is going to be pointing at a lower UFO right there. So if I use that UFO, okay, I'm going to do the same, and this is likely going to push me to go for the next one here. Okay, so this would be a range where I'm going to be, you know, very well centered. Now, of course, 64 is very far away from the current price. It's $10 higher, so I'm going to get no premium if I use May 21st. But again, I'm not concerned about that because earnings just happened, so we got 3 months in front of us, so we can go very, very far. Again, if I do 60 something, you get, you know, like what, 8 cents. Okay, so we cannot accept that. So we are looking at 64. So let's look at other expiration dates. I'm just gonna go all the way to the next monthly, 36 days, and that's 65. That is paying 33 cents. 39. Let me see. I'm looking at the volatilities. Okay, this one is providing more. I mean, let me check just in case. It's not gonna pay enough, but let me check. 65. Yeah, it's providing not enough, 16 cents. So what about if I do 25 of June? 64, which is going to be 65, provides 44. Okay, now from 65 to 70, we got $5. That I'm not very happy about because it's adding risk to the trade. With the prior expiration date is also $5. What about the next expiration date? Well, there is no liquidity here on the next expiration date. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna go for the one which is monthly, June 18, also to try to get the best liquidity as possible, and therefore let me recalculate probabilities using June 18. Okay, let me re-enter. It's going to be easier. Instead of changing 3 strikes, I'm just going to click again to right-click, analyze and sell an iron condor because there were missing strikes when changing the expiration date. And now this is pointing at 61.84 and 48.14. Okay, so 61, let's go at 62 and 48. So 62 is more or less here. 48 is more or less here. And therefore we can see that we are still pretty well centered in this range. Okay, I just kind of feel that maybe I didn't draw the lines properly. Let me draw the vertical range again. Yeah, so if this is the current price and this is where I got my line, if I move it higher, it's just a little higher, so I didn't do math correctly, so it would be the top. Okay, so we need to be using the 65. I mean, to be honest, nothing changes because we were going to use the 65, but now I have the lines in the right place on the chart. Okay, I was not precise enough earlier. Okay, so let's take a look at what happened. Now that we know that probably from a probability point of view, it makes sense. So on the call side, I will be using 70 and 65. Okay, and on the put side, I will be using 45 and 40. Okay, so 45 and 40 on the put side. Okay, and if I do that, so yeah, it's gonna be disappointing. Yeah, we get paid 38. The risk is 5. We need to collect a minimum of 15% of 5, which is 75 cents, and this is only paying 40. So this is the same problem we had yesterday with Zoom. I thought there was more premium built in here based on how it was looking like, but in the end, it's not working fine. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna have to pass. In any case, we have the scanner that updated. Okay, the scanner updated, and we have many more symbols now that we could go ahead and assess. So I'm going to start with Goldman Sachs. Let's take a look at Goldman Sachs earnings happening on the 20th of July. So plenty of dates in front of us. Is that stock making all-time high? Yes or no? Yes, so it doesn't look like we're gonna have enough UFOs above price. Pre and post market, do we have? No, only one. So Zoom, we checked and it was not working. So we're gonna continue with Caterpillar. And I mentioned this yesterday, guys, but you need to understand, and this is something that you have to internalize, because especially when you are new to trading, and I know some of you are not, but for the ones of you that are new to trading, normally it's very common to be new and to be eager, because you cannot wait to click the button because that's why you trade. Options trading implies methodology, strategy, and therefore patience. Okay, all trading implies patience, but with options even more. Okay, you need to go through multiple setups until you find a good one, and you have to be patient enough to do it. If not, if you're not patient enough, trade futures or forex or other markets, but with options. Okay, this is how you will make money with consistency, which is when you put the trades together the way it should be without rushing it or without accepting setups that don't meet your rules. Okay, so make sure you are disciplined in that approach. So Caterpillar is making all times high, so we're gonna pass. Team, still got team. So what do we have there? So multiple UFOs above and below. This is good. What about earnings? So earnings took place recently in April, so it's going to happen much later. So that's good. So let's take a look at the option chain for team. Okay, and while the option chain is loading, I will review probabilities 57%. If I look at pre and post market, it's 42. Okay, so institutional interest is during market hours. So that's what we're gonna do. And here we're gonna do a trade with 4 options at a time. So I want to reconfirm and redouble check the liquidity. So 490, 540, the liquidity is a bit tricky here, but I guess it's okay. Now, we do need to go pretty far out because the UFO above was a bit far. So let's enter an iron condor to calculate our statistics here, 234, 202. So 234 is more or less here. Okay. 202 is somewhere here. Okay, so in other words, we need to be dealing with that UFO, which is 2 UFOs above, and if we are doing that, so basically from here to here, which is the current price, okay, that's what we've got, and we're gonna move this to the bottom portion, and this is bringing us down much lower. Okay, so yeah, and the next UFO is very far away. Okay, very far away. So in this case, to be able to accept this trade, you know, and because the range is quite wide, I'm kind of okay to not to be that centered. Also, since I got more UFOs below than above, it's okay for me for the bottom part of the range to be just a little bit closer to the midpoint. If it was the opposite, where I had 2 green UFOs and 3 red UFOs, then I would want the bottom part to be further away. But in this case, I got 3 UFOs to defend myself below. So I would be okay to take this setup. Now the question is how much the 255 pay. Probably with 21 of May is going to be too little. 255 are paying 30 cents, but with lack of liquidity, so not happy about that. What about the next expiration date, 28th of May? 255 is paying 40 cents, but you know, I don't like the liquidity here at all. So because of that, I'm just going to move all the way to the next monthly, where hopefully I'll have more liquidity. Yeah, liquidity is much healthier here. So again, what was the value? It was 255. So if I do 260, you know, 130 to 155, this is much better from a liquidity point of view, isn't it? Now the issue is that this is going to be $10 strike price increments. Okay, so the risk of the trade at the beginning is going to be $1,000 per contract. So it's not ideal for practice purposes, but that's what we've got. Okay, so let me go ahead and re-enter the trade to recalculate probabilities, because now it's many more days and that range may be too small. That's my concern. So it's 251.91. It's fine. Okay, it's fine. So 250 is there, 191 is here, so it's fine. That range is fine for this trade. So let's put it together because I believe we may have a trade here. 255 to 255. We don't have 255, so it's going to be 260 to 70. Okay, and then on the bottom part we have 187, so we're gonna call it 190, so that we're gonna do 190, 180. Okay, 190, 180. Okay, that's the bottom part. And this is an iron condor that pay $178. So if you think about it, the risk of this trade is $10. Okay, times 100 is $1,000 per contract, which is what we call the raw risk, the distance between strikes. We want to capture 15% of that, right? And how much is 15% of that? Well, I guess it's easy math, isn't it? So that's 1.5. And how much is this paying? 1.8, which is more than 1.5. So guess what? The trade is to be accepted, and we have a trade to execute. I'm going to place the order, and then I'll do some writing on the charts so everybody understands the trade. So we are using June 18, it's a 36-day trade. Okay, we're going to right click to sell an iron condor. Okay, and we got the calls above, the puts below. The call was to sell 260 buy 270. So sell 260 buy 270, and the put was to sell the 190 and buy the 180. So sell the 190 buy the 180. Okay, and this provides a credit of 175. With TradeStation it shows 175, correct? So we are looking for 1.5. We may get 175, so perfect. Minimum 1.5 for sure. And I'm just gonna confirm and send this trade. Okay. Yeah, all is good. So send. So the order is there, and let's see if we get filled. Okay. I'll leave it there alone for a little bit. I'm using a limit order with 175. Okay. So in the real world, you may want to try 170, 160, see if you get filled. With a demo account, you should be able to get a midpoint, which is currently 175. So if I leave it like that for a while, I may get filled. Okay. If not, I will tweak it so at least we get filled, so we can practice this trade in the future sessions to come. But I did all of this very quick, so I would like to do a little bit of a recap. Okay. I would like to do a little bit of a recap, and I'm going to do that on the chart. Okay. I'm going to draw first a vertical line here, which is today. Okay, which is today. And I'm going to draw another vertical line here. I guess I need to add a few more bars. Okay, until we get to June 18. Here we go. And basically this is the range that we are trying to capture. Okay, so if I go back to Option Station Pro, you can see June 18 is the expiration date. So that's, I just got filled on the trade on the demo account. Okay, so I'm in, and basically now, as long as the stock stays in the purple area, we're gonna make that full profit. Okay, now of course we'll have trade management rules in place. Okay, like you know what we have done before. So we will be monitoring this closely, and we will be working on this to improve the trade, reduce the reward, reduce the risk, and worst case, enter damage control mode if that was to be needed. Okay, you probably remember we did that. We had a lot of fun with a trade on Facebook, if you recall. Okay, so the trade is in. Now again, to be visual, I wanted to remind you that what we're doing on the upper part, we were buying the 270 call and selling the 260 call. All of these using June 18, 2021 expiration date. We are not concerned about earnings in this case because they will happen in July, so this trade will be over before that. And then on the bottom part, we were selling the 190 put, and below we were buying the 180 put. Okay, so that was the trade that we put together, and hopefully the writings on the screen help to kind of keep you focused, because it was many moving parts, and I did the plan as always a bit quick. Okay, so anyway, I'm just gonna mark here that we got 175. Okay, and that way we will be able to then evaluate, talk about this trade during the life of the trade until June 18, unless we close it early. Okay, very good. Questions about this trade, everybody? We're about to disconnect the public streams, which I'm going to do right now. But also, any question, feel free to type on the chat boxes as I am ready to start looking at other trades. We still got 15 minutes to go, but at least we got one trade in. And by the way, let me know as well if you are getting filled in those trades. Okay. So guys, if you've been with us today, or you're watching this recorded, thanks for joining me from the public streams. I will see you